In this video, I'll show you how you can download an image from the web and bring it into Unreal Engine to use it as a texture for a material. And just to give this example some specificity, let's act as though I have done some searching in the content browser and I've found that the gravel options that I have available are just not quite what I'm looking for. So let's bring in a different gravel that we can use here. So let's go to the web and let's search for gravel texture seamless in Google Images. And then let's go to tools and change size to large so that we're getting high resolution images. And then let's just go ahead and download a couple that look decent. And then let's open up Photoshop and open the images that we've downloaded. And I'll show you a good example and a bad example here. So the good example here is a seamless image. And so if we go to Filter, Other, Offset, and then we drag the horizontal and the vertical sliders, we'll see that regardless of how I move these sliders around, I don't see any ugly seams that indicate any kind of problem. On the other hand, if we open up the bad example and go to Filter, Other, Offset, and move these sliders around, you'll see that we have some seams that are going to make the tiling really look pretty ugly in Unreal. Basically what I'm doing by adjusting these sliders is I'm moving the edges of the image toward the center. And so let's go ahead and accept that. We'll press OK, and I'll show you how we can get rid of these seams if we want to. Actually, hold on, I just made a mistake. First we need to crop this down to be a square image. You'll see if you look at the textures that come in Unreal, let me close this out and I'll just mouse over this image. You can see under dimensions that it's 4096 by 4096. So we always want to have square images for our texture maps. So let's change this image in Photoshop by going to Image, Canvas Size, and we'll just set the width to be the same as the height. Now note that I'm doing this in canvas size, not image size, because I actually want it to crop down. The new canvas size is smaller than the current canvas size. Some clipping will occur. That's actually what we want. So since we want that to happen, we'll click on Proceed. And then let's go back to Filter, Other, Offset, and we'll set this seam to be as close to the middle as we can get it. That's pretty good. And now let's use the clone stamp to get rid of these seams. So if I press S on the keyboard, or just click on this button on the left-hand side, this will open the clone stamp. And this lets us copy and paste parts of the image to paint out those problems. So if I hold Alt on the keyboard and click, that defines the source of the stamp. The brush size can be changed either by dragging the slider up and down or by using the bracket keys on the keyboard. I prefer to use the bracket keys. I think that's faster. So anyway, Alt-click, and then we'll just drag out a little bit. Alt-click again, we'll drag out some. I'm going to move and find a different sample spot there. So I'm going to pull from different parts of the image so that it doesn't get to be too repetitive. Hopefully I can keep this from being blurry. Note that you'll get different kinds of results by adjusting the opacity up there. There are some places where the seams are really close to the edge. It's going to be very difficult to fix that with it set up how it is. So let's go to Filter, Offset, Filter, Other, Offset, and where are those problem areas? There's one seam. That's the only big one I see left. We'll just click OK. Alt-click. And that looks a little weird too with it being repeated twice. Let me get rid of that spot. And I think that's fine. So this is ready to save out, at least the color map version. So let's go to File. We'll say File, save as, and we'll just call this gravel underscore example D for diffuse. Save. Okay, and then let's create a normal map so that we can give this some bumps in Unreal. So let's go to Filter and 3D, and then Generate Normal Map. And okay, so we have some widgets up here. You can see by clicking and dragging in the window, it lets me move this around. Sometimes your bumps will actually be inverted, where it'll be going down in space where you want it to go up in space. Let me zoom in some to illustrate. Note on the right hand side we have this ability to invert the height. So if you were to have that problem where say the gravel pieces seem to be kind of going down in space, you could just click on this button to swap it out. I think this is correct, so I'll click OK, and we'll go to File, Save As, and we'll call this gravel example underscore N for the normal map. Okay, and then we can go into Unreal, and let's go to our My Stuff folder, and then click on the Import button down here, and then select those two texture maps that we just created, and click on Open. And now we have these new texture maps that we could actually apply to a material in our project.